How did the Casta system shape Creole identity in colonial Latin America? Imagine living in a society where your social status is decided not just by your actions but by your bloodline and where you are born. That's what the Casta system was all about in colonial Latin America. It was a strict hierarchy created by Spanish authorities to organize society based on race and birthplace. At the very top were peninsulares, Spaniards born in Spain, who held the most political power. Just below them were Criollos, or Creoles, who were Spaniards born in the Americas. They often owned land and controlled local economies, but couldn't hold the highest government or church positions. Below the Creoles were mixed race groups like mestizos, who had Spanish and indigenous roots, and mulattoes, with Spanish and African ancestry. Indigenous peoples and enslaved Africans made up the bottom of this social ladder. This system made it clear who had more privilege and who was kept in a subordinate position. Creoles, although wealthy and educated, were still seen as second-class because they were born in the colonies, not in Spain. This created a sense of pride in their Spanish heritage but also a feeling of separation from the peninsulares. The Casta system also emphasized the idea of limpieza de sangre, or purity of blood, which valued and tainted Spanish Catholic lineage. Many Creoles tried to prove their blood was pure to stand apart from mixed groups and indigenous peoples. This reinforced social boundaries and kept the elite status within the Creole community. But because racial mixing was common, Creoles often navigated a complicated social web where identity was both racial and cultural. Everyday life reflected these divisions. Creoles had access to certain legal rights, occupations, and social privileges, but they still could not fully participate in the highest political or religious roles. Clothing, education, and social gatherings all followed these racial and birthplace distinctions. Over time, this led to a unique Creole identity that blended European traditions with local influences. It also planted seeds for future independence movements, as Creoles began to see themselves as distinct from Spain but still proud of their heritage. So, the Casta system shaped Creole identity by making them feel privileged compared to other groups but also subordinate to Spain-born Spaniards. It emphasized racial purity and social boundaries, which influenced how Creoles saw themselves and their place in society. This complex mix of pride, distinction, and limitation helped define what it meant to be a Creole during the colonial era.